Should baseball be the state's official sport? Question mark. That was the headline in the Sunday Times-Union, and a column written by Pete Iorizzo. Pete is the columnist and the sports editor of the Times-Union, and he joins us every Monday morning here on Big Board Sports in this time slot. Good morning, Pete.
Hey, Roger. How's it going?
We're doing well, thank you. And a pretty good debate here, though, whether baseball should be made the state's official sport. Give us an update of where you came across this story, and I guess it all hinges upon a Senate bill being introduced last week by Jim Seward, a Republican from the 51st District.
Yeah, I happened to see one of my colleagues had written about it. It is kind of a fun thought experiment. If New York State were to have an official sport, what should it be? Because you could probably make an argument for baseball, basketball, or football. But I should say, by the way, that this bill has probably a roughly 0% chance of actually passing. What usually happens when these kinds of bills get introduced, it's usually like a civics lesson for a local elementary school, and in this case, it's Cooperstown High School. So they're putting forth the bill, and it's a single House bill, and unlikely to go anywhere. And even if it did, it doesn't. There's no consequences of it other than New York, other than baseball would be the official state sport of New York. There's no, we don't get any state funding for more baseball programs or anything like that. But nonetheless, like I said, I did think it was kind of a fun experiment to go through the list and say, geez, if the state were going to have an official sport, what would it be?
So how do you make a strong case that it would be baseball over, let's say, football, which seems to be the passion for everyone?
Your best case for baseball, I would say, is you've got the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And even if we acknowledge that the idea that baseball was invented in Cooperstown is probably not true, I guess that the mythology there sort of counts for something, right? And it is nicknamed the birthplace of baseball, even if it isn't in reality. So I think you make a pretty good case for baseball. I like thinking about baseball, especially this time of year when there's a foot and a half of snow on the ground, and we've got spring training right around the corner. That's as good a reason as any in my mind.
Zachary, where do you stand on this, my man? You want baseball as the state's official sport?
Well, I had to kind of check myself during the break because you asked me before. You said, "Hey, would you be in favor of this?" And naturally, I'm a basketball guy, and I know how popular basketball is in New York State and New York City, the Mecca. And,
yeah.
But you know what I'm thinking? The most successful franchise in all of professional sports in the United States is probably the Yankees, right? 27 championships. The Hall of Fame is in New York. We do have multiple pro baseball teams, and if I remove my emotion and natural interest for it and objective, it would make sense that baseball would be the state sport.
But
I wonder if you could ask somebody who lives outside of New York, when they think of New York City, what sport do they most associate with New York City? Do they think of it as mostly a baseball town? I'm going to say, especially over the past 2 decades, given all the Knicks problems, that they probably don't immediately think of New York as a basketball town.
Well, in 2016, you wrote in your column, I always like a couple of your lines every week, but you wrote, listen, I have as much trouble as anyone keeping my eyelids open during the fourth hour of the Yankees-Red Sox game, which is true. Spring training, by the way, starts this week, so we do have some baseball fans getting ready to roll. But there was a Siena research poll, right, and back in 2016 that said it was football, right?
Yes, football was the most. When people were asked to name their favorite sport, more said football than anything else. Baseball was second behind football. Although, when asked to name their favorite team in any sport, the Yankees were number one.
Yeah, I would go probably football too if I were to have a vote in this. Again, this probably is not going to pass, but it is good. It is good topic to throw out there. Are we more interested in baseball, football, and Zach's all about basketball? And we just got done saying how you watched the Spurs and Knicks yesterday and look at Madison Square Garden absolutely rocking. And even when they stink, and you can make a strong case that this year's team is not good and they haven't been good, they still sell out the Garden every single night.
Yeah, that is really the most amazing thing about the Knicks story over the past few years in my mind, is how they continue to fill that building night in and night out when there's so much animosity toward the team in the city.
So, well, we'll see. I guess we could throw that out there to our listeners. If you were to pick a sport, what do you want to be known for around here in the state of New York? You want baseball, football, or hoops?
I think
of the three.
I think ultimately, people just love football more than anything else. Like if you gave someone a choice, would you want your favorite team to go win a World Series or go win a Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
A Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Yeah, I think no matter what you're talking about, what's going on, if there's nothing going on in the world of sports, Zach, we come in here and there's zero going on.
NFL.
What can we go right to that's going to stir the interest?
Where's Tony Romo going to quarterback next year?
You got it. National Football League. So
I do think, unlike any other sport, you're right. Football seems to be the topic we want to talk about. It's the one sport that we want to talk about 12 months a year.
Yeah, I agree. Well, listen, Pete, appreciate a few minutes. Are you you going to make your way to the Times Union Center tonight?
I'm not, although I am looking forward to watching that game.
Yeah, should be.
I think everybody's sort of looking at it as a measuring stick for Siena tonight. I'm glad for Siena too that we didn't get the footer snow today because I'm sure they're hoping for a big crowd down there tonight.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Pete, thanks for a few minutes every Monday here on Big Board Sports.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.